lost your mind? Have you ever lost your mind? Have you ever lost your mind?
Welcome to the Red Devil Talk. Chelsea won, Manchester United won at Stamford Bridge tonight. Manchester United did what they needed to do today, and that was to get a draw. So I'm not out here gonna lash on Carrick and say that Carrick was bad. They did what they needed to do, and that was get a result. And that was the most important factor, I think, for me. And I never thought that they would be probably getting a draw today. I thought Chelsea was gonna win. I had already given up, saying that Chelsea were gonna win and whatnot. But Michael Carrick, masterclass, guys. He packed the buses, he hit them on the break, and at one point I thought, oh, hold up a minute, we might actually get a victory out of this thing. But then, Chelsea obviously came back, got a penalty, and they forced the matters. Now it was 1-1. It finished 1-1 between the two sides. Great game, I think. In the first half, Chelsea dominated the entire thing, you know what I'm saying? Because that's how we set up our team as well. Our midfield consisted of Fred, McTominay, Matic, and Bruno Fernandes. So, clearly our game was to actually try and keep it tight and not concede any goals in the first 45 minutes. And we did that, and that plan was executed to its very, to its very existence. So, yeah, man, obviously we came here to get a result, whether it was a draw or win. We avoided defeat at all purposes. That's how Carrick set up the Man United side. But yeah, man, fair result, I think. Fair result for Manchester United. And we couldn't wish for anything better or worse. We got slapped by Liverpool 5. We got slapped by Man City 2-0, even though the rest of the game they were just playing, you know what I'm saying? They were playing catch. They were saying, you know what I'm saying? Let's see who can catch the ball first. That's what they were basically toying with us. So it felt like, again, the 5-0 that Liverpool gave us. But we got a result against Chelsea. Now, Ralph Rangnick can now take over, and you know what I'm saying? He can now officially take over for the Arsenal game, which is at home at Old Trafford. I'm hoping for 3 points for that. But getting back to today's game, was the lineup what we wanted? No. Was the lineup effective for today's result? Yes. I'm not gonna lie to you. He set us in a pragmatic way. So for us to get either a draw or win, like I said before. And he did what he needed to do. I mean, he's not gonna be here for the next game. So that's the only positive I can take from the game, besides a draw and the fact that we never lost. So, I know a lot of Chelsea fans were pissed off probably today. What happened? You know what I'm saying? But I'm glad, because I was Chelsea was gonna win today. So the way we set up very well. We were very congested. We made sure that they never put any passes through the middle. We made sure that we didn't allow them to do that. We forced them out wide. So obviously with Bruno, McTominay, Fred, and Matic was the most defensive formation you can ever get, and the most defensive players you can ever play in midfield. So that's how I know that that's how Carrick wanted it to be. You know what I'm saying? The best thing we could do was get a draw. And shout out to Sancho, getting his first Premier League goal as a Manchester United player. That's always positive. He also scored against Villarreal in the same week. So that's 2 goals this week. So he's He's finding his way, but then the good thing is that now Ragnick is gonna come in and he's gonna get the best out of it as a football player. And yeah, man, like the future is good for Manchester United. I can't lie. Like most of the time, I'm always complaining and saying that Manchester United is not doing this, Manchester United is not doing that. If you look at my previous videos and reactions, you could see that I was very pissed at what was happening and I could not understand it. But finally, everything is coming together. Finally, everything is where it needs to be. And that is us being a football club again, being run like a football club again. We're no longer Vibes FC. People know the appointment of the manager that we got this week was very vital to our future as a football club. And finally, the Glazers woke up and they were like, you know what? We could be making more money and still be winning trophies. So it's win and win. You know what I'm saying? How wouldn't you want a win and win situation? You understand? Where you're making money and where you're still challenging for trophies and winning trophies. Because this is exactly what's happening right now. Ralph Ragnick is gonna be in the next 6 months, he's gonna be sitting up in that board and making decisions within the football club. That's all we want as a football club. People think we're out here, trying to overrate a manager and saying we didn't know him 5 years ago, we didn't know him 4 years ago. He hasn't won a trophy. He hasn't experienced the Premier League. Now, then, you know what I'm saying? This guy is here to do what needs to be done. That's what we've been crying for so many years. I've always been crying for structure in this football club. I've always been crying for footballing people to be making footballing decisions instead of bankers making footballing decisions. And we finally have that. We finally have that. This is why I'm so positive. Because there's a plan now. There's finally a plan that is solid. Even if it doesn't work out, guys, even if it does not work out, there's always going to be someone who's going to come in and do a job. This club is now run like a proper football club. That's how I know that things are actually going to come together now. And this result, people don't know, it's very crucial. I expected Chelsea to win by all means possible. I expected Chelsea to beat us. But Michael Carrick, he did what he needed to do. That was his last game as our manager, as our interim manager before Ralph Ragnick comes in. So I'm okay. You know what I'm saying? I'm okay. And looking at the performance today overall, I'd say Bruno Fernandes had like a mixed game. There were times where he looked good. There was times where he looked extremely bad. I feel like the defense played well. Wan-Bissaka was a little bit suspicious sometimes. Alex Telles, I thought he was going to be ripped through. You know what I'm saying? But he maintained a sort of discipline in defense. Bailly, I've never doubted his talents. So I knew that very well. Bailly and Lindelof were never a good combination. There's the same defensive combination we had under Jose Mourinho. You understand? But I knew, today, Bailly is probably our best defender alongside Varane at the club right now. Lindelof is probably third in that category. We didn't look like we missed Maguire. We didn't look like we missed Maguire. Wan-Bissaka, I think he's gonna fall short at the club. I've never really truly been convinced by him in terms of his overall footballing ability. I feel like he's very swag going forward. He's slightly good in defensive, but even his defensive duties have somewhat dropped. I'm not convinced because you know what I'm saying? You can't be so bad at going forward and be bad at defense and in your defensive duties at the same time. So I feel like Ralph Ragnick is gonna be. He might deploy Delo. Delo might actually be deployed now in place of Wan-Bissaka, or he might end up buying a right back. He might end up saying, you know what, the next manager needs to buy a right back because there's no right back. I'm not gonna lie to you, because the penalty today that was given to Chelsea was due to AWB, was due to Aaron Wan-Bissaka. You know what I'm saying? So great result from Man United, no lie, and it's very crucial now. We have to go into the Arsenal game aiming to win. 3 points. You know what I'm saying? 3 points is very important going into that Arsenal game. West Ham have lost points. Man City have won. Man City is probably on top right now, if I'm not correct. If it's still Chelsea, I still need to check like the lock standings and everything. But it's looking peak, guys. Like, yeah, man. Props to Man United. Like, props to Michael Carrick for his pragmatic display. It ended up working, and he executed it to perfection. So yeah, man, fair result. I feel like on our side, obviously Chelsea had chances, more chances that we had, and so they'll obviously feel hard done by today's result. But on a Manchester United perspective, I feel like this result was a positive one, so I can't complain about that. But yeah, guys, have a lovely evening, man. Manchester, once again, if you just joined in, Manchester United won, Chelsea won. Yeah, man, and hopefully, the next game will be, will be a 3-pointer for Manchester United, with Ralph Ragnick coming in and a different style of play coming into Manchester United's display. But yeah, man, guys, enjoy the rest of your evening and have.
Girl, have you ever lost your mind? Have you ever lost your mind?